Hello and welcome to the Blackwater podcast, episode 5. And on this episode, we are talking about the French thrash progressive death metal band Gojira and ranking the albums of them. We are also reviewing Summoning Minas Morgul, and we are giving you a 2025 album, of course. As always, let us know what you think. Let us know your rankings of Gojira and any opinions you have on anything we talk about in this, in any replies anywhere. As we say at the end, feel free to message any of us if you have any ideas or anything you want to see from us, anything you want to see us do, talk about, just let us know. And with that out of the way, I'll let you go on to the podcast.
Hello to all of my beautiful listeners of the Blackwater podcast. We have some pretty exciting stuff for you guys, some stuff that we like, obviously. And before we get started, I just want to hear, how's your week going?
My week's been fine. It's been a lot of work and working night shifts in very, very dark parts of the tram link system in South London.
In the UK? You're gonna get
Yeah.
stabbed.
Well, I was with other people, to be fair,
Oh my
but
God.
it's more you were just scared of dogs because or stuff like that, because we had to walk down this cutting past the station in between just two just foresty areas in at 2 a.m. in the morning with just head torches, and it was only me that had a head torch out of three of us. So I was
That's
leading
lovely.
everyone. But no, apart from that, it's been a very good. I know, again, we're recording this probably about a month before it's going to come out, but as we're recording it, it's the 27th. Very, very good release week this week for new releases. It seems like just everything has kind of dropped today, which is very good.
There was a phenomenal, and it's not gonna be the 2025 album I'll get to later. I'm gonna have another pick, but you just mentioned the week's release, and I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Pathos, Swedish prog rock band. Came out of a phenomenal album that again just came out, and their sound is very unique.
Ghost, of course, released the album and their album.
Yep.
The Riven, who are a good Swedish hard rock band, released their album. Phantom, a great Mexican black and thrash metal band, released their second album.
EP by Gojira.
That Cancer released an album. I have a lot of them saved. Let me check. Cancer released an album.
Machine Head, which
Cadaver released an album. Conan released an album, which is a big one for a lot of Doom fans. Venator, who are a good Austrian heavy metal band, released an album. Just a very, very good release week. And I'm sure as we, throughout the weeks in the podcast, a lot of these will get mentioned.
Yep.
You had a good week, Nick?
It's been up and down, I guess.
Fair enough.
My mum had to go to hospital yesterday.
How's she doing?
She's doing better. I spoke to her earlier. She sounds better.
That's
good.
Hopefully,
I'm sending our good wishes.
We'll see her sometime next week.
Another one we want to see.
And just for those curious, where the Great Dane has gone, he did quite late when we were recording this, and he was basically falling asleep at his desk.
Well, I was not wondering. I'm kidding.
But we have all of his stuff for what we're doing today, so he will get mentioned, but he's not in the podcast today, so it's just us three today. But so getting on to what we are doing today, we are going to be ranking the discography of probably one of the best bands of the 21st century that I think most people will agree with, which is the French band Gojira. Now, we have talked about, I think it was on the second episode, we talked about From Mars to Sirius when Nick wasn't here. So maybe a bit of a spoiler on how much we like this band from just that episode, but I think I can speak for most of us where this is a very good band. And well, just to get some background on us.
It's fucking peak.
How did you lot discover them? How did you lot find out about them? Stuff like that?
Through my recommended on Spotify. It was my second year of high school, and I didn't know much about music back then. I was listening to very Not very, but mostly mainstream bands. I wasn't really getting to like the weekly releases or anything like that, right? So um it was an entirely new thing for me, Gojira, and it wasn't that long ago. I mean, if you consider, I mean, I guess I'm getting old. Maybe it was that long ago. It was what second year high school for me was about, making quick maths here, about 8 years ago. So
I
um
can't wear the same age.
thought it was sooner, but anyways, yeah, first song I heard from them was Flying Whales, and um I was getting on the school bus, and I was tired. I was sleepy. Yeah, it's 5 a.m. Right, so um, and I remember just like the slow section of Flying Whales started, right. And I was like, I never heard this, and I didn't check to see what sound it was. It was just playing my playlist. It was just a recommended playing, right? And I put my head against the window, and suddenly the riff comes in. I fucking just wake up, and I sit down and actually listen to it. And I was really digging it. And I saw it was this band called Gojira, and I listened to it for the rest of the week. So the rest is history.
Peak.
Yeah.
Nick, how did
Hello?
you find out about them?
Sorry, some water. Would have been 2018. This would have been I was year 10 in 2018. That was my fourth year of high school.
Mm.
I had Stranded, Silvera, and I think either The Heaviest Matter of the Universe or Flying Whales.
Hmm.
And I only listened to those three songs until like 2019, 2020.
Mm.
When they released Another World from Fortitude, just bit my tongue. From Fortitude,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I got it. That's when I started really listening to them a lot more.
Slept on album. Well, we get to that later.
Well, I
Hello.
discovered them. I got into metal when Fortitude had just released. That was like the big album when I first was getting into metal around 2021, I think it was, which has already been 4 years, which does not feel that long ago it came out. But,
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it a lot when it came out. I didn't love it at the time, but because I just wasn't into that style of music. But as I got older, I listened to it more. And then really started to love them when I saw them on tour the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I say for the first time as if I had ever seen them again. Saw them on tour then, which was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. To be completely honest, they were phenomenal.
Mm.
And the
Me as well.
band Alien Weaponry, who are like they New Zealand. I think they're from New Zealand, thrash band.
Yeah.
Very very good band. Open for them, and that was just a great show all around.
I feel like Alien Weaponry are just like the New Zealand Gojira. They
Yeah,
really remind me of Gojira a lot.
their newest album didn't do as much for me as I kind of hoped it would. After I loved their last two, but who knows? Anyway, we're gonna do our ranking. I think the best way to do this is we'll go around 3 times, and on the first round you do 7-6-5, then do 4-3, then do 2-1. So we don't just go
Okay.
around. We'll go Vitor, then Nick, then I'll read out videos, and then we'll go me.
Okay. So seven.
Vitor, 7, 6, and 5.
All right, so I'll start off, and just disclaimer: I like all of these albums. They each have their identity, and I've listened to all of them multiple times. And if the ranking has changed a few times for me, so I'm just gonna say what it's feeling like for me right now. So I'll start off with The Link, and it hurts me to say The Link 7th because I like this album a lot. Some of their best songs, in my opinion, is in this album, or some of my favorites, I should say, are in this album. But yeah, for sure, The Link, I think, for me is 7.
Yeah, I agree.
Remembrance,
I
Wisdom
agree.
Comes, Dawn are some of my favorite songs in their discography, but yeah,
I think it's a
Indians as
good.
well.
I think it's a good album, but it just doesn't. It doesn't. It almost doesn't feel like a Gojira album.
I'm a prog head at
Yeah.
heart, so to me, it's definitely their least creative work when it comes to compositions and stuff. So, I also take that into account.
Yeah. All right, what's your 6?
Man, I'm looking at it and it's super tight between these two albums. Like it's extremely tight between these two albums. But I think, okay, yeah, it's super hard. But I think I'm gonna go Terra Incognita at 6 and Fortitude at 5. But it is super tight for me between these two. Some of Gojira's meanest riffs are in Terra Incognita. They're just absolute bangers. But the album as a whole drifts away a little bit too much for me. Terra Incognita. Just like I listen to it from start to finish, and it like kind of goes everywhere with what it's trying to do.
I'll talk about more when it's my turn, but it almost feels like it just kind of is trying to get to the end. Like it feels like it's almost losing steam as it goes on.
Exactly, it's super top heavy. Aside from some songs along the way, like Deliverance and Love, I guess, right? Towards the later half, but it's top heavy with the first 3 songs, right? Cologne, Lizard Skin, and Satan's a Lawyer to me are clearly the best, alongside Deliverance. I just talked about it, right? But yeah, as an album as a whole, I definitely think Fortitude. Now that I'm talking more and more about it, I definitely think the structure of Fortitude definitely makes it a stronger album. So yeah, I'll go 7 The Link, 6 Terra Incognita, and 5 Fortitude.
Right.
And which I think, by the way, it's a phenomenal album, but it's hard to keep the streak going with the albums that are in the middle.
All right, Nick, you're back just in time to. It's your turn.
Sorry, someone fucking tried opening my door.
What?
Someone tried opening my front door.
Your front door?
Yeah,
was it
just
some crackhead, or was it just like a?
This is like some kid. I'm like, what are you trying to do?
They left?
Yeah, they're pissed off.
Why is he called up locked?
It was
it
locked. I heard them.
Dude, I thought in Australia you should be scared about the bugs, not the fucking crackheads. It's crazy.
I know. Apparently, in Australia, you have spiders that protect you from other spiders, which just seems like the most counterintuitive fucking shit of all time.
Yeah, they do.
I just burn the entire island. Yeah,
I got my ranking.
All right.
What's your 7?
So, 7. I'm gonna definitely get cooked for this one, but I've got Terra Incognita.
You've not got cooked.
I have it at 6, so it's okay.
Like, in my opinion, it's a very good album, but just compared to their albums afterwards, like Terra Incognita would be some band's best albums. Best album, sorry.
My problem with Terra Incognita is the structure. Like it just flows everywhere,
Yeah, and it's like too many interludes.
Too many. Yep.
But the songs on there like Love, Lizard Skin, Peak.
Yeah, I think Deliverance might be my favorite in the album, but those first 3 are fucking phenomenal. Cologne is a fucking hell of a song.
Yeah, Cologne is my favorite of the album. I think that song is phenomenal.
For 6, I've got The Link, which I feel like it's the same boat as Terra Incognita. Like it's a great album, but they've just got much better albums. That makes sense. And for 5th, I've got Fortitude, which again I really like Fortitude. That's a good album.
We have the same 7 through 5, just different order.
I feel like I like Fortitude a lot, but a lot of that album was spoiled for me because how many singles they released for it, and a lot of it didn't really feel new. It's like a 10-song album, and they released 5 singles for it.
Yeah, that's true.
And one of the songs that weren't released was an interlude, so it was like 4 new songs.
Yep.
Which I know doesn't really affect the music, but
it definitely affects like that first perception of the album, the first time you hear it. And you kind of carry that throughout your other lessons, you know?
Yeah, and I think as we spoke about plenty of times on the podcast before, I think as we will keep talking about, music is not just the music; it is how you experience the music. It's everything around the music.
Exactly.
And I think you will find out Fortitude is. I'm not going to spoil where it is. It's way higher on my list because it was the first album I heard. It was when I was getting into metal. So for me, it was this kind of exciting new thing.
Yep.
Whereas you lot may not have been. All right, reading videos out. Number 7, you have The Link. It said not a bad album by any means. It just doesn't have that magic that other Gojira albums have. Something just feels like it's missing. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but something is missing. I kind of agree with him on it, to be completely honest. That's a perfect explanation of the album. Number six, he had Fortitude. He said, great album. I just like it less because the production isn't quite how I would like it.
That's fair.
And then at 5th, he had Terra Incognita. He said, easily their heaviest album, also their rawest album. Absolutely pummels your ears with super unique sounding death metal riffs, though it doesn't have a whole lot more than just great riffs.
I kind of agree with the last statement. Yeah. It's just focused on riffs and the structure is just not there. But they're fucking phenomenal riffs. Yeah.
And to me, it just sounds like a long demo.
That is true. It's so raw that, yeah.
Yeah. Continuing on from that, number 7 for me is Terra Incognita. I did not like this album when I first listened to it, when I was first getting into Gojira. I was not really into this style of death metal at the time. And I hadn't really gone back to it since then. I hadn't really tried to give it another chance. It was for me just an album I didn't really like. And when I went back to listen to it, I listened to it when we were first going to do this, which was like a couple of weeks back. Clone came on, and I was like, damn, this album's so good. Like, what have I missing? And then the rest of the album just kind of meanders for me. Like, Clone is such a good opener. And for me, nothing else really matches it in just the aggression, the songwriting, for me, the whole album just feels like by the end, you are just kind of looking. It was one of, the albums where like you're looking to see how long there is left of the album. You're looking to see how many songs are left, just kind of hoping it's soon. That's my opinion on it. It's a good album, but not great.
You didn't even like Love?
I don't mind it. It's just
that sounds like a fan favorite.
I don't know. Number 6 for me is The Link. I liked this more when I first heard it, to be honest. I went back to it and nothing really stood out to me about it. And that's like with Terra Incognita, it at least has a couple. Clone's my favorite, but at least has a couple really interesting songs. The Link just kind of feels like an average album by most bands. It doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't feel. But that's just me. But nothing to say about
they're still trying to find this sound.
Yes. Number 5 for me is Magma. I did not like this when I first heard it because I was.
Oh, boo this man.
No, I didn't like it when I first heard it because I went to it thinking this is just going to be like Art of Dying, Le Font Sauvage from Us Serious. And I didn't really like it. And now I've gone back to it and I thought it's an album that gets better every time I listen to it. I still don't love it. I think I don't really like any of the points where they're trying to just be like soft and stuff like that. It doesn't not really work for me. But the songs like basically this is also the issue which my friend pointed out when I was chatting to him about this. He doesn't love this album because he thinks all the best songs are the singles, and I mean he got burnt out on them somewhat quickly.
Okay.
I thought the best song for me is Lowlands.
Yeah.
Lowlands, yeah, I agree.
It's a very good album and a lot shorter than most of their albums, which can be seen as a good thing or can be seen as a bad thing. I personally think it's a perfect length. You can tell they're going through some stuff of this because I think wasn't it a song about their mum who died or something like that?
Yeah, that's the whole album's about her, I think.
I like it a lot now. I think it's a great album. This is where for me Gojira becomes, I think after Link, basically nothing bad. But this is the one I go back to the least over.
It has a soft spot. I hold it in my heart. Magma because it was the first LP I bought. Alongside Seven Son, by Iron Maiden. I bought them both together. My favorite Iron Maiden album, very easily. Yeah, very easily my favorite Maiden album.
All right, what's your 4 and 3, Vitor?
4 and 3. And again, these two are super super tight for me. Yeah, this is hard. I'm probably gonna say. Oh my god, this is hard. I'm looking at the songs. I keep going back and forth between two albums. Because, okay, originally I had Magma 4, L'Enfant Sauvage 3, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm not so sure. But oh my god, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Magma 4 and L'Enfant Sauvage 3, but if I think too much about it, I'm gonna switch it, so I'll leave it be.
Right.
Well, I just talked about Magma. Lowlands is one of my favorite Gojira songs. Probably, a lot of people consider Born in Winter to be one of Gojira's songs. I think this clears Born in Winter. I love Lowlands. I love Prey. I love Stranded. I love Severa. Shooting Star is a phenomenal opener. It might be my favorite opener from them. Yeah, I love Magma. Yeah, I fucking love it. But L'Enfant Sauvage probably has stronger songs. I just talked about Born in Winter. I love Born in Winter, even though I prefer Lowlands, comparing the two albums directly, right? But I also love The Fall, The Gift of Guilt, Mouth of Kala, and Liquid Fire, Axe, L'Enfant. Just the whole album is super, super good. But it doesn't have the same just fucking hit that the other two albums have. The other two albums just have it, and this album is close to having it. Some songs have it, but not all of them. So yeah, I think that's fair. L'Enfant 3, Magma 4.
Based.
Nick, what's yours?
I've also got Magma at 4 and L'Enfant Sauvage at 3.
Was it close to you like
I-
me or no?
No, not so close.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna get cooked for this, but I used to hate Magma. I used to hate that album.
I used to not like it either. I think most people didn't like it when they first heard it, and then grew to appreciate it.
It's different, right?
Yeah,
it's softer. It's softer than the other albums.
If you went into it expecting L'Enfant Sauvage, Art of Dying, from Modern Serious, it's a very different
Yeah.
album.
It's Gojira's Damnation almost, right? Almost. Like Opath had that insane sequence, and then they go Damnation. It's like obviously Gojira's Magma is still in that realm, right? But it's it's cleaner, it's softer, and so yeah, they're much they're more different than the rest there.
But no, I've come to really, really, really love that album though.
Magma?
Yeah, Magma.
Mm-hmm.
The Lowlands, I love Lowlands. I even like the interlude song Liberation, just at the end, like when you finish listening to it.
Yellowstone is a nice connection between Stranded and Magma. Liberation is a nice closer as well.
I just like when you finish the album, it feels like it's all just come together and it's all
Just chilling down, right?
Their mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I really like it.
And it has it has some of their most iconic riffs, right? Multiple of these songs.
And I will say is even if you think those songs are overplayed, when they play them live, it's so good. Like live, those songs they're maybe a bit more simple than stuff before, but live they really work.
Yeah.
I know Stranded's like their most popular song, but I love that song.
I love Stranded. I love Magma. I love this whole album. I don't have a single bad song on this album whatsoever.
I barely have a single bad song.
Yes, but to better, I'll retract my statement. I'll put it in better terms. Every song in this album is for me at least a 7.5.
Based.
And then L'Enfant was your 3.
L'Enfant, Nick's 3.
I really don't know how to pronounce it, so I just call it elephant sausage.
Nice, okay.
It's L'Enfant Sauvage, yeah?
Yeah, L'Enfant Sauvage.
Or elephant sausage.
That's how I type it, because I don't know how to spell that too.
Fair enough. All right. Biddo's number 4. No, yeah, no, number 5. No, 4. 4 that we're on.
Yeah, four.
Number 4 was Magma. He said not super heavy, but still manages to have great riffs and also quite emotional, which I think is basically what we've been saying. And Le Fond Sauvage was his 3. He said they started to turn down the heaviness in this album, but it's still great.
Yep.
My number 4 is Le Fond Sauvage. Oh, we've lost Nick.
We lost Nick.
He's not in the.
Oh yes, yeah, we did lose Nick. Oh no, it's the front door man.
They killed him.
No,
Yeah,
Nick.
no, kid, let him go, man.
We're joking about it, but what if it actually happened?
It didn't happen. What probably happened is he's hit some. All right, well, I'll keep on with mine while we try and sort this out. Number 4 was the Fond Sauvage. I basically agree with what everyone said. I just think I don't go back to it as much purely because when I'm in the mood for this type of this sound that Gojira do, I'm much more likely to go back to Art of Dying or From Mars to Sirius. I think that it's a great album, has some of the best songs, to be honest. And when I went back to it for this, for the first time in quite a bit, actually, I was shocked by how much I enjoyed it. Because I always saw this as the lesser of those 3, but
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. And number 3
I think
is
number 3 is.
You go on, and then I'll.
I don't want to know.
No, I was gonna say you go on, and then I'll say my number 3.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said you don't want to know. I think a proper way of looking at the font is that it's the transition from those 2 albums into manga, because it has some of those like melodical passages, I guess, that Magma has,
Yeah.
And I talked about it again. Born in Winter and Lowlands kind of hold the same purpose in those 2 albums.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So you go on. Number 3.
Number 3 for me is Art of Dying. My top 3, my 3 and 2 were very, very hard to split because I think Art of Dying is the better album. But we've got Nick again.
Right.
They stopped beating up the child outside.
So, no, I got a phone call. Sorry.
That's all right.
Good, Nick.
So
Connor
number 4,
has Way of a Flash for 3rd, right?
it's Wave of Flash. Why
Flash
did I write it? Why did I write it down as Art of Dying?
I always do it. I know, I do. I always do it.
Way of All Flesh at 3rd. That's crazy. I'm sorry.
No, if you actually heard what I just said, then it would make more sense. But I said I think Way of All Flesh is a better album than what's on my number 2. But my number 2 I have more personal connection to. Way of All Flesh was the first Gojira album I listened to properly. I listened to Fortitude when it first came out. Liked it, didn't really give it much of a chance. This was when my mate basically messaged me and being like, "You need to listen to this. You need to check this out." And I loved it. I thought it's phenomenal. It is a basically perfect album. Toxic Garbage Island might be my favorite Gojira song, just purely because of how cool it is. It's a very good album. Arguably more weird and progressive than From Mars to Sirius, which I respect them for doing. But yeah, very good album. Highly recommend it. Probably should be on my number 2. I pondered over what to put at 2 and 3, whether to swap them or not. But yeah. So that's my number 3. So Vitor, what's your 2 and what's your number 1?
Every single week I switch between these 2. But recently it has been Way of All Flesh number 1 for me. So From Mars to Sirius number 2, Way of All Flesh number 1 for me. I think if I look at it objectively, right, I think From Mars to Sirius is a better album, musically, objectively, right? But Way of All Flesh is my favorite album. And I don't know. I don't think it's the cover because I love both covers. I personally think the Way of Flesh closes much stronger than From Mars to Sirius.
It closes. The closing of the From Mars to Sirius is one of their best songs.
I'm not looking at just global warming and the Wave of Flesh. I'm like comparing the last last 5 songs or so. And by the way, the Wave of Flesh is easily a top 5 song this year for me. Like easily.
Peak.
So, you know, and then yeah, we look at global warming, right? But then before that, we have In the Wilderness, obviously great song. Worlds to Come, obviously a great song. And then from Mars and into Series. But if you look at the last 5 from Wave of Flesh, it's The Art of Dying, Esoteric Surgery, Vacuity, Wolf Down the Earth, and Wave of Flesh. So to me, that sequence is stronger. And the album also opens super strong with Ouroboros, which I think Ouroboros is what made me like a Gojira head, because I was enjoying Gojira, right? But when I listened to Ouroboros, I was like, oh yeah, this is fucking peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I
then,
love the riffs on Ouroboros.
yeah, and then it leads into Toxic Garbage Island and A Sight to Behold. So like it's it's a crazy sequence. The middle of the album is not as strong as From Arch to Sirius. I mean, the middle of From Arch to Sirius has stuff like Warrior Dragons Dwell, which is also a top 3 Gojira song for me. Happiest Metal of the Universe and Flying Whales. So both albums are super close to me. But I, objectively, I think From Mars to Sirius is better, but I think The Wave of Flesh is my favorite.
That's fair. You can have either as your favorite, and you'd be right.
Right, Nick.
Both big. I've got The Way of All Flesh at 2, and From Mars to Sirius at 1.
Mhm.
I think I'm similar with Vitor. They sometimes change a lot. Because sometimes I prefer the more riffy The Way of All Flesh, but then I sometimes prefer the heavy breakdowns and technicality of
Yeah, I
From
will
Mars to
say
Sirius
this.
more.
Yeah, I think if you go riff for riff, I think The Wave of Flesh for sure wins.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
purely riff for
100%.
riff.
But song-wise, like songwriting, I think From Mars to Sirius is just slightly better for me.
That's completely fair.
But
Completely fair.
what The Way of All Flesh does have my favorite Gojira song on it, so it's it's
Art of Dying?
extremely close for me. No, Yama's Messengers.
Yeah, it's, oh my god, fucking peak,
That's
bro.
one of their most underrated songs.
Right, I've realised why I wrote Art of Dying. That's because what Bido wrote in his message to me. To blame Bido for me saying it's wrong the entire
Oh, no.
You go, man.
So he had Wave of Flesh number 2, said he loves the technicality of this album and it has some of their best riffs, which I think everyone will agree with.
Yeah.
And then number 1 from Master Serious, one of the best albums ever made, insanely heavy, but also insanely emotional.
Cook.
And I'm going to be very unpopular here because everyone else had this at 5 or 6. My number 2 is Fortitude, and it purely comes from, this was when I got into the band. I saw them on this tour. I own the vinyl. I loved this album. I love it still. I go back to this, arguably the most out of any of their albums, because I find it so re-listenable. I think
Yeah, it's probably the most re-listenable.
Born for One Thing is one of their best, if not their best opener. I think it is so good. I think that this is one of those albums where I feel like, and basically were, to be honest, all the songs could be singles. And most of them were, because that's the issue. Is a lot of them were releases. Because Another World was released.
Born for One Thing.
Born for One
Amazonia.
Thing. Found Amazonia.
Chance. Into the Storm.
Sphinx was also released.
That was after the album.
They still released as a single.
Yeah, before the album, it was before Born for One Thing, Amazonia, The Chant, Into the Storm. There's one more.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm listening to, as you guys speak, I'm listening to The Wave of Flesh. How does someone come up with this shit, bro?
I don't know.
Mario and Joe.
Oh my god, bro.
How does someone drum that?
The only song I've heard, I think people really criticize on Fortitude is the chant, because it is just a bit weird.
No, I love that song.
I like it as well, but I've heard people. But Sphinx, Hold On,
that's my favorite.
Amazonia is one of my favorite songs from them.
I love Amazonia.
Newfound, Rind. It's just a great album, and I think it is a very good kind of a reaction.
Ignore that.
These softer songs that they do, I'm gonna talk about it again. Lowlands and Born in Winter, but fucking The Trails, man. Holy shit, The Trails is good.
Peak. Yes.
Holy shit, the trails is good.
Also, look at the Greek smashing plates again.
Shut
Ah,
up, you
that's
kid.
good.
I dropped my backswitch.
And number one for me,
Okay.
it's as a shock to no one, is from Master Sirius. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's basically perfect. I think everyone has already stated enough why everyone likes this album so much, but basically every song is great. I particularly want to give mention to Backbone as being one of their best. But From the Sky, Where Dragons Dwell, Heaviest Man in the Universe, Flying Whales, to Sirius is extremely underrated, and Global Warming is the ending.
The series is
It's-
so good.
You compare everyone like this album's great and all, but you then compare it to The Link, and you realize how much of a step up this is from The Link. The Link is a good album. It is not a
Yeah.
great album.
Yeah, but from going from the Link to From Mars, the series is unbelievable.
Also, what I found is they, for some reason, on the Japanese bonus track for this, covered "Escape" by Metallica, which
Dude, that's a good cover.
I've never heard it, but I do like.
I
that
honestly
Metallica.
think it's better than the Metallica version.
People who hate that Metallica song all week, that song is great.
I'll give
Yeah,
a shout
Escape's
out
good.
to another cover that is better than the original, and that is Orgasmatron by Sepultura.
No, because
Is
the
that
original
the-
by Go to Head.
I love Motorhead's Orgasmatron, but something with Sepultura's, man. I'm a Sepultura fanboy anyway, but yeah, I love
And
Motorhead.
I
Don't
wonder
get me
why.
wrong.
I
I
wonder
wonder why as well. Yeah, you're right.
It's only a
forgot.
mystery.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
why?
I forgot.
It's almost like the same reason that Nick's a stan of AC/DC. It's almost like, when you're from the country, they're from.
Yeah. Call me a
Only a
nationalist.
So, combined rankings, which is all of our stuff added together, average points, was 7th was The Link with 6 points, which kind of expected, to be completely honest. And 6th was Terra Incognita with 7 points, so very, very close with those. I think Bido ranking Terra Incognita higher was the only reason he raised it higher than Fortitude, which was the only reason why it got even that high, basically. Sorry, I'm still working out the maths for the final ones. 4th, we had a tie of Magma and Fortitude, both with 15 points, which is maybe a bit surprising, but third was the Font Sauvage, probably not surprising, probably seen as the weakest of the Holy Trinity by most people, with 19 points. Then in second place was Wave of Flesh, which has 23 points. And then first with 27 points, almost a perfect score of 28, was from Master Sirius.
Wow,
Did you say almost a perfect score just to banter me or what?
No, it just had 28 is the perfect score. It's like all of us rated it first, except for you who rated it second. That was basically it. Just like how
I wonder who saw that coming first.
I apologize.
the only reason Fortitude tied was because I put it so high, and the only reason Terra Incognita beat Link, not tied with it, was because Bido put it higher.
I also put it at 6, so
Yeah, but he put it at 5, which was the reason why it.
okay. All right.
So that is our ranking. Give us yours on any social medias that you've found us on. Give us yours. Give us what your favorite albums are, what your least favorite albums are. Remember, there are no wrong answers to this question. It is your opinion and your opinion only. Don't attack anyone for their opinions, because that's really, really cringe. Unless you're friends with them, then do whatever the fuck you want. The second part of the podcast is we take any album for 2025, can be good, can be bad, can be whatever in between, and we talk about it and give our opinions on it. And I'm going to start with Bido's just because, again, he's not here, but he has written down what his is. It was an EP. It was world stained in apathy, because autocorrect got over there. World Stained in Apathy by Throne of Selune.
Peak, yes.
He said, genuinely one of the
great.
best modern black metal releases I've heard. The melodies in this EP are genuinely so insanely good. They're quite melancholic, which I absolutely love. I also really appreciate the folky undertones in the music. An absolute must listen for any black metal fan.
I'm sorry, what was it again?
I was
World Stained in Apathy by Throne of Selune.
Okay, I'm just making sure I write it down.
Selune.
Okay.
Nick said you've heard
Yeah.
it. And so that's two people that are given recommendations
Peak.
for it.
I will confirm that that EP is peak.
All right, Vitor, what's your 2025 album pick?
It was a very pleasant surprise. I'm gonna say 2 albums because I'm not sure if I said this album already in the previous episode.
Alright.
So the one that I think I might have said, or maybe I didn't, I'm not sure, is Dark Tales of Zarathustra by Benajum. I'm not sure if I said this album already.
I don't remember if you have or not. So just go ahead with both of them and then.
Yeah, I'll say both then, whatever. So this is basically a love letter to. I'm not gonna say Dimo Borgir. It's just pure juice of symphonic black metal, and it just reminds me of Dimo Borgir so much. I might have to check out the artist. I'm not sure if maybe he has someone in Dimo Borgir because it's so similar. I know it's from the U.S. Never mind, but yeah, it's symphonic black metal, and it's super good. It was a very pleasant surprise. And you guys know I love Dimo Borgir. I completely fell in love with this album. I cannot get enough of it. So the other one that was the one I had planned already. I just wanted to quickly talk about Dark Tales of Zarathustra because I was not sure if I already talked about it. But the one I had planned out already is an album I might have talked about already in the GC, and that's Desert Psalms by Serpentes, or it just means serpents. It's a band from Portugal, and it's very alike a Magla. It's very heavily inspired in Magla. Just the intensity, drumming is phenomenal in this album. I think I definitely see some dark side influence onto this drummer, and I absolutely love it. And you know, me being Portuguese, I do have some. Me being Brazilian, sorry, I do have some affinity with Portugal. My girlfriend, she has Portuguese background as well, so I was very pleasant to see a band from Portugal, and it did not disappoint me at all. It was very good. Anyone that likes Magla, which to me is one of, if not the best, black metal band today, and this is just as good. Really, it's that good.
All right, Nick, what's your pick for a 2024 album?
So I
Wait.
picked.
Well, 4 or
Cannibal-
25.
Oh, sorry. 2025.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay,
2025,
sorry.
yeah, it's 2025. Sorry,
I just want to make sure. Sorry.
we're nearly 5 months
So-
in, and I'm nearly in this.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go on a whammy. I'm gonna pick 2 here. One good, one bad.
Okay.
I'm gonna do bad. Unatoned by Machine Head. Oh my god.
That bad?
I've been defending this band in the group chat for months now, just for them to drop this pile of shit. Why are they doing butt rock? Why is Machine Head doing butt?
They've been
It's
doing
legit.
it for a while. Like
They need to stop it.
If you don't,
They need to stop.
You
No
don't
more.
watch it. You know, Machine
more.
Head was.
Stop.
You know, at WrestleMania, Machine Head was the backing music for the hype package for the Pug Seth Rollins thing. It was one of their more recent
Stop.
ballads. It was so shit.
Stop doing butt rock, please. Just go back to thrash or groove, because there's elements of it. But on that album, there's like 2-3 songs that are like good, but then they're doing shit, cringy butt rock. It legit sounds like Stained, but with like drop B tuning. I was like, what is this nonsense? Anyways,
Funny.
my good album now. I've gone Cannibal Era by Cyanide Grenade. They're like a brutal thrash, and it's like similar to Sodom and Creator, or like early Creator, like Pleasure to Kill, Endless Pain, Terrible Certainty, and Agent Orange, Tapping the Vein, Sodom. It's a very brutal, very fast, very aggressive thrash, and it's a really good album. I very much recommend.
All right. I'm gonna because everyone else is picking 2, I'll pick 2. Why the fuck not? My pick for a bad one, and it's not that bad, but my pick for a bad one is the new Ghost album, Skeletar. I don't know how to properly pronounce it.
Skeletta or something. It's
I
Swedish or something.
I know a review for it was probably Swedish, considering they're from there. It's probably Latin.
No,
Uh,
fuck to find that.
but I said their worst album by quite a bit. The production is the worst part about it. It's really flat and bad, and to be honest,
Yes,
that's the main
I
issue.
agree.
While the songs could have been made up for by some really good production, the flat production kind of leaves all their weaknesses on show with bad hooks and cliche lyrics, and makes this a very forgettable album. And they're basically a pop band now, and that's not my issue with them. They want to be a pop band. That's basically fine with me. I think that their last two albums were pop, but they had such good hit hooks, and the production was great, and they were just fun. This album doesn't, and I'm not going to shit on this album too much because I don't hate it, but fuck me, the guitar tone on this sounds like a black metal demo in a bad way. Like the guitar tone on this is so bad. Like it's so bad.
Especially on the third song, you can really hear it.
It sounds like what, like when you're like using wires, like stringing. This was made by one of the biggest bands in the world at the moment, and that's the guitar tone you can get. Like fuck off. And then for a good one, yeah. And then for a good one, I'm going to go for. Let me just get the name up of it. I am going to go for Shadow of a Fallen Star Part 2 by Seven Sisters. Now, Seven Sisters are a British band. I saw them 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago. Opening for a band called Riot City, who are also very good. And it's been 4 years since their last album. I was never a massive Seven Sisters fan. I always liked them, found them fun, but I was never like a guy that I'm going to listen to them all the time. I have not stopped listening to this album since it came out. I listened to it again today because I was like, it was on my way back from work. I was like, oh, what album do I want to listen to? This one. It's been one I've constantly been listening to. The final song is the only issue because it's 20 minutes, but doesn't really need to be 20 minutes. It's one of those types of ones that could have been cut down quite a bit. But overall, it's a very fun progressive metal, but like 80s style progressive metal, like Queensryche, Fate's Warning.
Yeah.
Those types of like when progressive metal had much more like of a power metal element to it. And I'd highly recommend it to everyone and support them because that and also their side project, which is called Phantom Spell, are both very good. So yeah, those are 2025 albums. You've got a lot of stuff to listen to and some stuff to maybe avoid if you're not a fan of butt rock.
Don't listen to the New Machine Head. Just listen to Burn My Eyes and The Blackening. Don't bother. It's not good.
The Blackening is a great album. That album's so good.
I'll defend this album.
And for a final part of our podcast, we do what we do every week. We spin the spinning wheel that gives us an album.
Oh
and
yeah.
This week, it gave us.
Oh yeah. What it give us?
It gave us Minas Morgul.
Oh yeah.
By Summoning.
Oh yeah.
Let me just get the Wikipedia up so I can read out everything about it.
We're talking about peak here. Peak.
Oh yeah,
music.
we're talking about peak. Oh yeah, we're talking about peak here.
My laptop will not be incredibly slow.
Enough of this Gojira foolishness. This is the real biz.
So Minas Morgul is the second full-length album by the Austrian black metal band. It is many fans consider it to be their debut album, as it develops the quote summoning sound and brought the band to a larger audience due to its lyrics and Tolkien themes. I am reading what's written down.
But the fans are idiots. Look, Bruce is a great album.
It was released on Napalm Records, which kind of surprises me considering what Napalm Records are now. But that's what they were at the time. It was produced by the band and Georg Roeder. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it only has two members, a Protector on vocals, guitar, and keyboards, and Salinas on bass, keyboards, and vocals. I'm pretty sure the drums are a drum machine, I think, or they at least sound like it. It has 10 songs, or 11 songs, sorry. All of them are pretty long. And
not long enough. Make them longer.
Was received very well, but apparently received criticism for the vocals and Kraftwerk-esque drum sound, but was praised for the content referencing Tolkien. But it was very unique stuff, and for 1995 was very different from a lot of stuff that was going on at the time. And I'll
Ahead of his
start
time.
off. Yeah, and I'll start off by reading Bido, who wrote a review. He went, "If you know anything about me, then you would know why I absolutely love this album. I, being a massive Tolkien fan, of course, love
Yes, sir.
their music is based on the author's legendarium. Don't know what he's trying to say there. Based on the author's legend, I think is but a legend. I think I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say like his legends, but I can't pronounce that word because I'm bad. This album in specific is not only the best from them, but in my opinion, musically, but is also named after the stronghold in which the Witch King of Angmar has his home in. The Witch King being my favorite fictional character.
You got me ready to run through a brick wall. I can run through a wall.
The atmosphere of this album is absolutely unmatched. Makes you feel like a wizard on a quest in a dark enchanted forest. 10 out of 10, one of the best black metal albums ever made. And I'm going to contradict that by telling you what my friend thought when I went for a drink with my friend who is a black metal fan, and I basically told him what we were doing, and he said it was the most overrated black metal album of all time. He hates the keyboard sound. He hates the drum sound.
He hates the keyboard sound. That's the best thing with the album.
Well, you're not going to like my part.
What?
And I disagree with him because I think this is a very good album. I am not going to say it's peak because I'm not a black metal fan. Oh, I am. I like black metal. It's not my genre. So can we stop cooking me for every album I don't like? This is fucking running joke. We need to get an album someone else get cooked for because it's always me. It was me with Sepultura. Now it's me with this. It's always going to be me. I like this album. I am not the person who should tell you what's good and bad about this album because it's not my genre. I think it is good. I think it is pretty good. I don't like the keyboard sound either. I think they sound really tinny and cheap. I'm also not a massive fan of the drum sound being drum machines, but they probably couldn't afford a proper drummer at the time, so wouldn't put past it. The atmosphere is very great. My only thing is I don't think I'll ever really go back to it purely because it's not my thing. I rated it. I think it's an 8 out of 10. If you like black metal, listen to it. If you haven't, but
I'll take it over then.
My main criticism of it is basically it's not my thing. Basically, so that's why I went first because I thought I have the least valuable opinion on this. We'll start off with Mr. Vitor. What's your opinion on?
There's only one knock. There's two knocks to this album. Okay. That it's too short. It's over an hour. Still too short.
Cool.
And that it's not my favorite summoning album. I love summoning Dimmu Borgir are probably my favorite black metal bands. And Minas Morgul not being my favorite summoning album is highly indicative of what I think of the band because I love Minas Morgul so very much. It's probably what made me like black metal so much. Summoning as a whole, but Minas Morgul specifically because from what I remember, I started black metal with Dimmu Borgir, and then I started discovering, the very mainstream black metal stuff like Mayhem and whatever the fuck. I don't like Mayhem, but I had to explore the field, right? And I eventually got to summoning because the Lord of the Rings connection, and same as you, Connor, I fucking massive Tolkien fan. And I started with their first album. I started with Lugburst, and I liked it a lot. Flight of the Nazgul is still one of my favorite summoning songs. But then I got to Minas Morgul, and there's just like it has it. It's different. It's so well created. I mean, 95 to think of making this sound. To this day, there's nothing like this album. Not even in the discography. It's such an unique album. You talk about the keyboards. I love the keyboards personally. Specifically in the beginning of Dogger Broccolak, it's probably my favorite keyboard of the album. But I mean, just songs like "Passing of the Great Company" and "Marching Homewards," "Ungoliant," Legend of the Monster Ring, the opening of with So Wondering is phenomenal. I think it just really sets the mood. Like you're in this. I imagine myself like in this dark place. I'm exploring something. I fucking love it. I want to feel something when I listen to music, but I also want to be somewhere, if that makes sense. You know,
Mhm.
Recently I was in a long drive at night, and I put on this fucking legendary album, and it just made the drive so much more pleasant. Um, it's also scary. I thought I was gonna fucking crash at some point because I was just so chill and so comfortable. Because the album just to me is such a feels good album. I can't say it enough. I love this album. Top 10 for me all time.
Based.
And Nick, finally, what's your opinion on this album?
Oh, when Vitor mentioned that there's no other bands that really sound like it, I wanted to say there's a band called Caledon Brood. They have
Oh yeah,
one album that's very summoning
but
as
even
and
Calvin
Minas
Brood, and I love Calvin Brood. I love Echoes of Battle, but it doesn't sound like Minas Morgul, right? Like Minas Morgul itself is such a unique album.
True. Anyways, it's not enough of the yapping.
Yep.
If obviously you know me, I love black metal. So 9 times out of 10, I'll love a black metal album, especially this one. And I don't understand the criticisms of the keyboards being shitty because it's black metal. Obviously, it's got to sound like shit. So you can't really
Yeah,
nitpick when
well, you can.
something
You
sounds like
can't
shit in
say,
black
"Oh
metal.
yeah, it's supposed to sound like shit," and my criticism is
But
it sounds like shit.
but if
So
everything
yeah,
else sounds like shit, then you can't really nitpick, you know.
no, but the keyboards specifically sound like yeah, I hate the sound of them. I hate the sound.
I love it.
It's the one thing that takes
It's
me out of
it's
the.
so unique.
I think you contrast the keyboard in that to something like A Tale of a Thousand Lakes by Morpheus. That's
It's just
my
so unique.
fair. It's unique in the fact it's awful, but
Shut up. But
Also, peak cover. Forgot to
true,
mention.
yes, the cover.
and great logo as well. The logo is great.
Great. I love the logo, the font, and the album name as well. They're all great.
I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't know summoning were Austrian until Connor mentioned it.
That's yeah. Austrian.
I thought they were Swedish.
Yeah.
But back to the album. But yeah, the keyboards, I love the vocals. I love the atmosphere. I don't know why you'd want to listen to Burzum when that album exists. Everything Minas Morgul does, it shits on Burzum. Any Burzum, Minas Morgul does better.
I'm just gonna mention the one thing with the cover. We were talking about the cover for Minas Morgul. If you look at their discography, they have a crazy cover game. Like banger after banger, really.
No, they don't have a bad album cover.
Look at Let More Hero Singer Fame. That might be the best album cover of all time. It's a ridiculous cover.
Very good cover. I love their logo. Their logo is probably the best thing about them for me.
It's so good.
A lot of black metal logos are just peak.
Yeah, but a lot of black metal logos look the same, whereas that one just looks very unique and
Yeah, AI could never do that shit.
AI can
Cool.
never do these covers. AI doesn't have soul, that's why I can't do any of these covers. It's like I told you what my mate posted a thing. I forgot what album he posted. Oh, we are getting off topic again about AI, so we won't go too far into this again. But he posted a thing and it was a cover, and I was like, AI will never be able to do a cover like this.
Yeah.
Because it just you can't have soul. It was Open the Gates by Manila Road. If you haven't
Right.
listened to that, search up that cover. That is a cover that can never be done with AI because of how
Open the gates, you said?
I think Open the Gates might be Open the Gates by Manila Road. Yeah.
By who again?
Manila Road. Manilla Road.
By the way. Don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. All right.
Manila Road.
Oh, yeah, I see. Peak, yes, that's peak.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I think basically the overarching sentiment of this is one of the best albums of all time by most of us. Not by me, because I'm not a black metal guy. So once again, don't take my opinions too much into account. But
Yeah, you're a moron. We get it.
Yeah, cook up.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I was about to bring up a certain band, but I don't want to bully Connor anymore.
just
Uh-oh.
All right, all right. That's probably it for the end of the thing. Let us know what your opinions on any of the albums we've spoken about, whether it be a 2025 album, whether it be a Minas Morgul, whether it be any of the Gojira albums. Let us know what you think on any replies anywhere. And make sure to follow us on any social media. They'll all be in some sort of descriptions, or probably you'll find us. You'll find us somewhere. And go follow Black.
And if you want to give us some ideas on what to talk about, like if you want us to see us discuss an album.
And if you want to contact us by messaging us or anything, feel free, I know message me. I'm happy to message people. Not sure if anyone else is, so not going to say for
No,
everyone.
I will not answer you. I'm an idiot.
If you want to contact us and let us know stuff, you want us to do, or you want us to talk about, things like that, feel free to do it. And we'll see you all in the next week's episode. Hopefully with Vitor here. So have a good week.